Hi there, my name is Dennis and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you the books that I read in January and February, so let's just get started. In January I read about 8 books. The first one that I finished off was one that I was reading in December called Jade City. I'm not really going to spoil the plots of many of these books because I don't want to, but Jade City was a fantasy book with a very intense political structure and a very interesting, I guess not magic system, but their powers are derived from jade, and they attach it to their bodies, or they wear it as jewelry and stuff, and those who are able to harness the power of the jade, they get abilities, basically heightened senses, a higher degree of strength, which was interesting. I liked this book. I thought the politics and the fantasy elements of it was cool. I rated it 4 out of 5 stars. Next book that I finished was a book that I've been trying to get around to finishing for a very long time, and that would be Shine. This author was a former member of a really big K-pop girl group called Girls' Generation, and this book kind of reflects her experience and common experiences that these girls go through as a trainee and then eventually a girl group member in South Korea. I thought it was interesting to read as this book goes through the trainee process a little bit. And I know that recently she released a sequel to this book that goes deeper into the actual part of being a part of a girl group. It was okay, but I'm indifferent. I could have gone without reading the book and felt totally fine. The next book that I read was Salt. This was a book that I actually read a year ago, and I wasn't crazy about it. It was poetry, and I think I read this right after I read Rupi Kaur's 3 books, but Salt was actually written before Rupi Kaur's books. But since I just got done reading Rupi Kaur, I was kind of sick of the short form poetry. So at the time, I think I rated it 2 stars. I wasn't crazy about it. But then I went back to it a year later, reread it, and I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I did the first time around, which I think really goes to show that poetry takes time to read and enjoy and understand, and it's hard for me personally to not sit and read poetry all in one go, which goes into another book that I read recently, which was called Stuff I've Been Feeling Lately. This is another poetry book. This book is kind of formatted like a playlist. So every poem has a song at the end of the poem that kind of loosely relates to the themes that she's exploring with that poem. And I took the time to read each poem and then listen to the song that goes along with each poem. And because I did this, it really forced me to take the time to read through the book and not just sit there and read all the poems all at once and be done with it. And I liked that experience, and I really think the idea of pairing a song to every poem was very interesting. However, even though I took a couple weeks I think to finish this book felt rushed. Anyway, I think the quality of a lot of the poems was not crazy, and then when you look at the history of like why the book was published itself, it kind of makes sense why it was kind of rushed. I think it was like written as like a way to raise money for a charity. I don't know. You could kind of tell that it was written pretty quickly. It could have been better. 2 out of 5 stars. The next 2 books that I read were Break Your Glass Slippers and Sea of Strangers. These were 2 more poetry books that I read. Break Your Glass Slippers is basically a reworking of Story of Cinderella and kind of telling it through a modern lens where she has her fairy godmother who's trying to guide her to make better decisions that a lot of young women face, but it was just bland. I didn't care for it. I hate using the phrase Instagram poetry because that form of poetry makes it very accessible to a more general audience. But at the same time, I feel like it really kind of dumbs down poetry, which should be great for me because I suck with poetry. But I think I'm at that level now where I don't really need that like washed down level of like themes and stuff. And also at the same time, I don't really relate to these themes anymore. I'm not a young woman, as you can see. So it wasn't really my thing. However, Sea of Strangers, that was good. I read this and then read it again because that's how much I enjoyed it. Reading this kind of came at a very good moment in my life. This is a little personal, but I've recently gone through a breakup. And I just feel like this book was, I never say this, but this book was like therapy to me. It was tough. It was very poignant, really drew my emotions out, and I liked it. I would rarely say that about any book, let alone a poetry book, but I just feel like I really needed it, and it really hit home for me. I liked that one. 5 stars for Sea of Strangers, that's a good one. And then the last 2 books I read in January were The Omega Principle, which was a nonfiction about like fish oil. I liked it, 4 out of 5 stars, but I don't know how to explain any more than that. It nonfiction. And then the other one was Cinderella Ninja Warrior. This is a choose your own adventure middle grade book where Cinderella is a ninja. Goofy as hell, 2 out of 5 stars. February, my reading has slowed down quite a bit because I'm back in school, but I'm still reading. I'm still trying my hardest to read as much as I can. I was only able to get to 4 books this previous month. The first one, An Ember in the Ashes. This is a fantasy where we have like 2 storylines. The first storyline is in the point of view of a girl named Laya, who basically becomes a slave in a like school for like warriors. And one of the warriors that is in this school is named Elias, and that's our other main character. He's the son of like the commander that is like the head of this school. He just graduated along with a few other classmates, and a new emperor has to be crowned. So him and 3 others have to go through like a ton of trials in order to be crowned emperor. Laya's brother was recently kidnapped. She escaped, or like was able to escape kidnapping, but he was kidnapped. She needs to find him, like basically pairs herself up with the rebels to try and figure out where he is and how they can get him out. But in exchange for the rebels doing this for her, the rebels make her be a spy and spy on the school that she's placed at as a slave. So that happens. Laya and Elias slowly get closer. Are they falling in love? Maybe, maybe not. 4 out of 5 stars, pretty great read. Another book I read was A Very Large Expanse of the Sea. This is about a Persian girl who goes to a primarily white school, and it takes place basically right after 9/11. And she wears a scarf. She is Islamic, and as you can expect, she gets bullied a lot because of this. She meets a boy named Ocean, and they fall in love. I'm reading a lot of YA like romances lately, and I don't know what's up with that, but it's happening, and that's okay. Okay, cool. I liked this book a lot. 4 out of 5 stars. I read the classic To All the Boys I Loved Before. 3 out of 5 stars. I knew I had a good understanding of what the plot was before I read the book, since it was so huge, so I'm sure you also already know the plot as well, but this girl has a bunch of letters that she has written to past loves and past crushes, and her sister accidentally sends them all out to the boys that she likes. And the boy that she currently has a crush on was dating her sister. And she wants to try and throw him off and make him think that it's not that big of a deal by fake dating one of her other crushes, Peter. And then they like each other for realsies. So that's the first book in the trilogy of To All the Boys I've Loved Before. I do have the other 2 books that I plan on reading eventually, but not right now, because I think I want to like slow way down on the excessive amounts of YA romance I've been happening to read lately. The best book that I've read all year so far, my 6 out of 5 star read, is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. I only have the sleeve with me right now because one of my roommates is reading it, but this was a great memoir. The best that I've read, period. Jeanette McCurdy, you probably know her from being Sam on iCarly. She wrote this memoir. I really enjoyed this book because the way that she wrote this book, the writing itself, and the pacing was very appropriate. I feel like it was packed with so much detail about her life, yet it flowed so quickly and so easily that like it's one of those books that you don't want to put down. Like, it literally is that. And it's written in this way. On top of that, it's helped a lot of people that I know of get back into reading, because this is a big name actress that a lot of people in my generation grew up with. Coupled with that writing style and that pacing, makes it a great read for really anyone to enjoy. One of my favorite YouTubers, Cindy, Read with Cindy, or I think she just goes by With Cindy now, Her review on Goodreads sums it up pretty perfectly. She says that you can tell she's more passionate about writing than acting because her writing is of a higher caliber than other celebrity memoirs that were likely ghostwritten, and I agree completely. And it's not like a celebrity memoir where it was written when the celebrity's like 24. Like, how much of your life have you lived at 24 that you feel like you can write a memoir, right? The things that she has gone through in her life is good for a memoir. And I just liked this one a lot. 5 out of 5 stars. Read this book. I loved it. And then really quickly, before I go, I'll talk about what I plan on reading these next 3-ish months before I graduate. Right now, the physical book that I'm reading is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I don't have the book in my hands right now because it is in my backpack, and I take the sleeves off of hardcovers because I don't like reading with the sleeves on. That's just a me thing. The audiobook that I'm reading right now is The Way You Make Me Feel. That is probably another YA romance. I haven't gotten to the romance part, but I can feel it coming. And then the other books I plan on reading this month include Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. I have a short stack of books that have some of the books that I plan on reading. It's a long list of books that I plan on reading for a very specific video that I've been in the process of making. And here's 3 of those books that I have. It's Expanse by Jacques Lacan. Discourse on Colonialism, and The Portable Nietzsche Hymn. If you can guess what video I'm making based on those books, I would be very impressed and also very pleased. So if you think you have an idea of what video I'm trying to make, I would love to hear your guesses down in the comments. What have you been reading lately, and what do you plan on reading this month? Also, let me know down in the comments. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure that you press the like button and subscribe. Bye.